Check Complete, a referee podcast, is an educational resource for referees by referees, designed to connect and develop soccer officials of all ages and skill levels to better serve the game both on and off the field. The Check Complete podcast is back with episode 18. We got some great content for you this time. I mean, it's just continually great content, one episode after the other, if I may say so myself. But Gordie here, your host, excited to be alongside Kenny Bartkoski today. We also are going to have an interview with Shane Butler, so a couple of legends from the state of Missouri. So we're excited to chat with both of you guys. And then we're going to have a kind of a surprise special recording that I won't share too much about, but we can be surprised about together. Well, I won't be surprised because I know, but you'll be surprised and hopefully enjoy it all. So, Kenny, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm really flattered that you asked me. I'm very honored to be here.
Yeah, we're super excited to chat. I'm excited because I've learned a lot from you over the years refereeing, and I've been in the college chapter 5 or 6 years now. And we didn't get a chance to work together a whole lot before that, but we've had a chance to work together several times since then. And I've learned a lot from you. And if nothing else, always know I'm going to have a good time when we work together, which is always, I think, what matters almost the most about this. Because if you're not enjoying what you're doing and you're not enjoying the people you're working with, this becomes a very tedious and frustrating job.
Becomes like a regular job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's start in. I want to hear a little bit about your story. Probably relative to refereeing. You can share with us whatever you would like. But as far as your story relative to refereeing, how did you get started as an official?
Well, I got out of the service and worked a couple of jobs and just wasn't real happy with where I was going. And kind of met up with some friends who played soccer. And I said, man, I could referee. Because I was used to running around and staying healthy and stuff anyway. And I thought, well, this is something I can get paid to do. If I'm going to play the game, might as well get paid to do it. And so I joined kind of at a later age. I was almost 30 by the time I joined officiating through USSF. So,
okay.
Gotcha. So I've got 26 years experience altogether.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. So you started on the USSF side, and then because you also work high school, you also work college. Mm-hmm. What did that progression look like for you?
It only took maybe a year or two of doing USSF games before I joined the high school ranks, and then shortly after there, I joined the college ranks as well.
Okay.
So, got to know some great people that helped me on my way. Especially Ron Corey helped me on my way a lot. Gave me a lot of games, a lot of opportunities to try to shine early in my career, which I was really flattered with.
Yeah, absolutely. So you launched in, you started doing the game, and the landscape of soccer has changed. I mean, over the last, 26?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's a lot that's changed in that time frame, and you've been able to see quite a bit of that. Are you able to articulate kind of what that movement has been like?
Oh, it's been crazy. I mean, so much has changed just in the 25, 26 years I've been involved in it. It's unbelievable to keep track of everything. And the hard thing about officiating is you don't always have to agree with what the rules are, but you're there to enforce them, whether you like them or not. Yeah. But a lot has changed. This game is completely different than the game I grew up playing, certainly different than the game I first started officiating.
Yeah, so. Right. Well, I mean, even in the last few years, we talk about just one aspect of it, just the speed.
Yes, the speed especially. The speed, the mentality of the players, they're very advanced at a younger age in the sport, which is good for the sport in America, but really presents a lot of challenges officiating because you have to deal with a lot of different attitudes, a lot of different mentalities out there on the field. Everybody thinks they have a right to speak their mind, so you have to learn how to deal with that as an official.
Yes.
That's the hard part. That's really the hard part.
Right. I mean, absolutely. So one of your strengths that we've talked about, and one of the things you're known for in our chapter and in the soccer community, is your ability to communicate and to connect with players and coaches and things like that. What is that just something that's just innate within you? Is that something you developed? How have those skills progressed?
Well, I'm kind of a drama jock by nature. I was in forensics and debate in high school, so kind of a little bit of that has always followed me. Being comfortable in front of strangers and that type of deal. It's been difficult because a lot of that's just not innate. All right, a lot of that's just not innate. It's something you have to train yourself for. Right. Sending the emails out, making contact with people before the game, All that's important. And then making contact with the people that are at the game, introducing yourself to both coaches, finding who the administrator is on site. Those things, everybody appreciates that little level of professionalism.
Right.
And always be early. That's what I always tell referees. If the expectation is be there 30 minutes, get there 45 minutes before. Your extra preparation sets that field for the whole day.
Yeah.
So taking the time to check the nets and walk the field, clean up all the debris, that's part of our job.
Right.
So you have to learn that as you go. I don't think it's an innate thing. It's something that you have to keep honing your skills on as you go along.
Well, one little touch of professionalism that I picked up from you, or that I've seen you do, I haven't always done a great job, but I think it was a year ago we were together, and you made a conscious effort to learn the goalkeepers' names. I think is that something that you started kind of doing a little bit more?
Yeah, captains and goalkeepers.
Captains and goalkeepers. And so that's a conscious effort. Where did that come from? Just
figure, with the problems you have with goalkeepers distributing the ball or potentially delaying the game near the end, you shout their name and tell them what you need. You're more likely to get a response than if you don't know them at all and you're just barking at the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to know their names. It's like, oh, ref knows me. So he knows I'm watching out.
Right.
So the person knows that I'm paying attention. So, and the captain sometimes too, if I have difficulty with a player, I might, turn, hey, Elizabeth, I need your help with this, and say something, and you're more likely to get a positive response if you use someone's name.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
even if it's learning the names of the players as the game goes along, sometimes there may be that play real close and you say something, just hearing your voice may be enough to comfort them.
Yeah, right.
So.
Right, absolutely. That's great. Along the way, I mean, you've had a lot of experiences around the game of soccer. Are there formidable ones that stand out in your mind along the way? Things that were like, this was really memorable, this was really crazy?
Well, positive or negative?
Let's go one of each, and then we'll follow the rabbit trail of whichever one we like the most.
Well, something I've always enjoyed is if you can get a laugh with a player.
Yeah.
Have a moment with the player where you connect with them as a person, and you're just not there as an official. You're there to facilitate the game. That's the way I look at it. Is we're not just there to call rules. We're there to facilitate the game.
Right.
So if that means communicating with people and using your voice instead of your whistle, that's what we should do. That's part of facilitating the game.
Right.
Massaging people with attitudes and egos through the game.
Right.
Help them get through the game without taking it personally, and then it's between you and this person, and that's what you want to avoid is avoid that. Hey, it's not me and you. So avoid those situations if you can. So,
right.
But communicating is a big part of how I've always officiated, and maybe that's taken me to a different level because I've certainly had a lot of great opportunities to do some fantastic games, and I don't think I would have those capabilities if I didn't have something exceptional from someone else. And I think that level of professionalism I bring, I think that's an important part of what I'm all about, because I like to talk. I love the game. I love what the players are doing. I'll compliment them on something.
Yes.
So, it's kind of hard to yell at the guy that's complimenting you during the game.
Right.
So kind of a reverse approach to officiating for me.
Right, absolutely.
So they're not my enemies. I want to be their friend.
Right.
All right. I want them to be able to talk to me. So
right.
Not argue with me, but talk to me. So.
And you're not afraid of, I've seen this, when those decide to go the different route, right, then you have to step up to the plate and deal with those situations, right? I'm sure you've had plenty of those types of situations.
Yeah, on the negative, there's always negative. So, there's been games I've gone back and thought about later, and, I'm not sure I did the right thing in some of these games.
Sure.
Some of the games are that difficult, that hard, and you have just a split second to make what could be the most important decision of the game. And those are really tough, and I've had a couple of those. But the fortunate thing is, I think because of what I bring, I have fewer cards in my games. The number of red cards I've given, I can probably count on fingers and toes between Federation, high school, and NYSOA. I just don't have a lot of them. So a lot of that is managing the players through the game.
Right.
And I think that's something that I bring, and I've worked hard at it, and I'm glad I've been recognized for that. So it's really exceptional.
Right. One of the things I want to pull from what you're saying, and we were having this conversation earlier, we had our chapter board meeting before this, and so I was talking with the rest of our board, and we were talking about certain referees and different demeanors and the way people approach different things. And we're having this conversation with our state cup referees as well, so it's every level. is going into games with the approach of let's facilitate and work together to get the best result with all the parties involved in this contest. We're going in assuming that positive intent of what we're doing to go, hey, we're going to work together. I'm going to learn your name. We're going to work together. And if something goes awry, then we will respond appropriately. Instead, I think there's a lot of us, and I've been in this situation before too, that don't have that same approach of what you're describing. We go in and we kind of go in looking for the problems. And if we're looking for problems, we'll find them, right? In plenty of those games. So if we can go in looking at, I wonder if I can manage it with personality and humor. Or am I just going to go, you know what, screw you, we're going to go to cards, we're going to go to screaming, we're going to go to that.
And that's the thing too, with my style, it's, I've learned a lot along the way, and you have to be careful what you say.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to be careful how you use comm systems, and you have to remember other people can hear you sometimes. If you're doing the top level games like Division I and stuff, they got the person with the microphone standing right there on the side of the field. I mean, you have to watch what you say. So you have to be real careful of how you deal with things and what you're saying, because what you say, somebody else is going to say, this is what you said.
Right.
So you have to be smart about what you say. If you say be smart, and then they commit a foul, well, that ref just said I was a dummy because I committed a foul. All right, when he told me to be smart. So you have to be careful how you approach those things. Don't just say no foul, no foul. You have to be careful what you say, because the player can misunderstand that and then reinterpret it back to their coach as something different than what you said. And now you've created a problem for yourself when, if you had remained silent or said something else, you wouldn't have had the issue.
Right. So there are a lot of fun stories that I've heard you tell from yourself, from others. I would love for it to be a moment of war stories. One of my favorites, there's a couple from you that I'll share, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I think the Check Complete podcast audience needs to hear these. So one of them that I have since used was there was a player, I believe you were doing a junior college men's game, which for those that have ever done a junior college men's game know you are, you're going to earn your paycheck, we'll just put it that way. And I think there was a player that was being particularly difficult, especially with dissent and arguing some things. And I believe the rumor was that you had told the coach, you stopped the clock and brought the player over and said he was injured, and you told the coach it was a mouth injury, which is one of my favorites. And the coach said, what do you mean? You said, well, his mouth won't stop running, which is just, it's that kind of thing that's just fantastic. And then I think there was another one, you told me this, I don't know if you used this in a high school or a college game. And let me pause by saying, I know we all want to have the one-liners, and so this is where you're 100% right. You got to be careful when and how you use them, because they can either diffuse and help or pour gas on the fire, right? But the other one was, I think you told a player who kept getting fouled because he wouldn't get the ball off his foot, that there was a recent study done that
there was a recent study done that said when you pass the ball, you usually don't get fouled.
Yeah.
So if you would pass the ball, you probably wouldn't be fouled all the time.
Yes. So helping the player know what sort of research is modern science is doing. Are there other fun war stories that you're willing to say without you ended up being in jail?
One's got to be, Rob Kyle never lets me forget this. And we were at Allen County. This is a junior college game. Allen County against Kansas City Community College. Mm-hmm. And this dude from Kansas City Community College started getting mouthy with a player from Allen County. And he said something about what he was going to do to him next time he got the ball. Okay. So I stopped the clock and I said, Coach Rubin, that's KCK's coach. I go, can you cool this hothead off for me? And he goes, what's wrong? I said, he's telling me what he's going to do to somebody. Okay. And he goes, can I sub him? I said, sure, you can sub him. And he took that player out and subbed another one in. Rob Kyle's like, only you would get away with that. Stop the game and tell the coach he needs to sub this guy.
To cool the hothead off.
Yeah.
I mean... And what did you possibly avoid? Probably a red card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about it,
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You're giving the coach a chance to coach.
Right.
In that moment. I've had enough with them. Can you help me?
Right.
And that becomes the approach there.
Right.
So.
Right. Any other memorable moments that I'm sure there's probably a zillion.
There's just so many, and so many war stories. But the thing I enjoy the most is the referees I work with.
Yeah.
I've been blessed to work with people that are really, really good about what they do, and they're professional about what they do, and they take it seriously what they do, and I like that. I like that approach. Yeah. I mean, it's not just a job, but it's a job we can excel at if we come in with the right mental approach, and that's, let's be successful, let's work together, let's get each other through the game. Don't let me mess something up. I don't care how bad it looks. Call me over and let's talk about it. I'd rather get it right and be embarrassed by the fact it took a while than get it wrong when we could have talked about it.
Right.
So, but just a lot of wonderful people I've worked with, and I've enjoyed all the car rides and the lunches, and let's meet here and let's go grab a beer here. Palucci's and Attribution, and we find all these little places to go where we can congregate and get to know each other and have some fun. I mean, that's why we ref. It's fun. If you don't have a job that's fun, then you're not doing the right job. And this is a job that can be very fun. I've enjoyed it a lot.
Well, I got to probably go on record by saying my first ever NAIA men's middle was at Benedictine several years ago, and you were AR1 for that.
That's right.
And it looked like my first NAIA men's middle. I don't remember a whole lot of specific. I remember certain details. I remember a player coming up to me going, "Ref, is this your first game?" And I didn't want to tell him the answer was yes. But he walked away. What I wanted to say back to him was, it looks like it's your first game, but that would have poured gas on the fire.
But that's gas on the fire. Yeah, exactly. That's right.
But I remember I was just crazy nervous for that game, and there was stuff in it that it wasn't awful, but it didn't go great either. It was a pretty lopsided game, but when I saw that, and I remember talking to a few people, and they're like, "Well, who's your crew?" And I told them you were my AR1, and just as a testament to you, I had overwhelming people go, "Oh, you couldn't ask for a better assistant referee for that game." Yeah, so that's a testament to you.
Got you through the game.
And yes, and I knew that no matter what happened, unless I took my shirt off and ran around like a madman, but if I stayed professional, which I did, I knew I had support.
Yes.
And so, I want to just publicly thank you for that, but then also over the years, just always, and I know any of us that have refereed for any length of time, when you start to get into it, there's names that pop up that you might go, okay, and there's other names where you go, yeah, and you've always been one of those names. And so it's, on behalf of our whole chapter and really, me personally, I just want to say thank you for all you've done and continue to do.
Thank you for having me on and giving me a chance to speak a little bit with you. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. It's been our pleasure. If you want to come to Kansas City and ref with Kenny, we can make it happen. He does about 13,000 games a week, and so we can work you in. Take from this whatever you need to take from this. If you're watching this, if you have any level of experience, it doesn't need to be 26 years. It can be a couple of years for you to go and be somebody like this for others, to be their support system on the line, to be their support system, whatever it might be. And all of us, and that's why I want to talk to you about the communication side of things. We can all take a moment to really reflect before. I guess reflecting really is more for a post-game type of thing, but think critically about how we use our communication tools, because it is truly going to set us up for success and keep us out of problems and out of danger. So, any final words, Kenny?
No, be good. Enjoy what you do. Enjoy what you do. If you ever have issues, reach out to us. Gordie knows how to reach me. If there's anything I can help you with or some advice I can provide to you, I'm willing to do that. So I want our referees to be comfortable and do the best they can.
That's right. We're a big family together in this. So, Kenny, thank you so much. We appreciate you, my friend.
Thank you.
The Check Complete podcast is brought to you in part by JF Consulting Tax Preparation and Bookkeeping. Taxes suck, we can help. Visit jfcokc.com. All right, I am really, really excited to sit down virtually across the state from each other, I suppose. I'm on the Kansas side, but from Shane Butler. Shane, thank you so much for your time. We're excited to chat with you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the night. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to talk about. You have done a lot in your career and you are still doing a lot. And so I'm just excited to hear about your journey. But why don't we start with a little bit, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little about yourself. Maybe brag for just a second about some of the things you've been able to be a part of.
My name is Shane Butler. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised. I've been refereeing since I was 16 years old. Before that, I started doing a little bit of baseball. I did baseball along to about, I don't know, about 28, 29. So I've been officiating a long time, two sports. As far as soccer, I currently currently here are the positions I hold. I am the FIFA futsal instructor for the United States, one of four in CONCACAF. I'm part of the experts panel member. So he helped rewrite the laws, and I was fortunate enough to go to the World Cup this past in 2021 in Lithuania. I was there for 6 weeks. So that's my FIFA credentials. Currently, I was an ex-FIFA futsal from 2005 to 2017, working three CONCACAFs, a Women's World Championship, among other international events. On the outdoor side for the Federation, I was a national referee from 2001 to 2013. I've been doing college and professional indoor soccer for 25 plus years. I'm a U.S. Soccer national referee coach. I am the state director of assessment for the state of Missouri. And I think that's all of it today.
There you
So
go.
I cover, I mean, I've been very fortunate in this game to have a lot of longevity, and then other opportunities just kind of happen because of my longevity, and people think I have some knowledge to pass on. So it's been a very fun ride, and yeah, I'm still going. So, but and so it's been fun. So that's kind of a lot of my background. So
That's wonderful. So a wealth of knowledge around the game, and lots of good experiences, and a lot of people met along the way, which
yep.
I know we just talked to Kenny. You weren't here for that conversation, but he and I talked about just how much fun it has been to get to know so many wonderful people along the journey. And I'm sure you have countless people. And of course, you're international, you get to cross borders and boundaries and languages too.
Yeah, it's you do it because you love the game. You stay a part of it because of the people in the game, and you got as you have friends across the country, and I'm fortunate to have friends across the world in this, and the referee family worldwide is a tight referee family, and we look out for each other because we understand the trials and tribulations that go a part of this game, on and off the field. So I'm very happy to be a part of the family. So.
Right. It's awesome. Well, let's start out with a little bit kind of back to the beginning, how you got started as a sports official. And I didn't know you had done baseball. I did a little bit of baseball. I still do some basketball. So the multi-sport thing can be fun. But how did you get started in officiating?
So, I mean, just like anything, first time job. So we had, little league baseball in my, smaller town outside of St. Louis called Festus, Missouri, Crystal City, Missouri, about 10,000 people total between the two little communities. And, I didn't like the umpires. I played baseball, I played soccer, and I didn't like some of the things that the umpires did. So I figured I can do that. And, for whatever it was back then, $10 or $15 for a game, which, again, I'm 47, so that was a lot. That was a lot of money for a couple hours of work, and then decided my soccer. I was playing soccer and baseball at the time, and then there was an offer. There in the in the newspaper of all things back in the day, there's an advertisement for a referee class. I'm like, well, I could try that, and that was another job, and just like anything, like all of us that get involved, we like it, or we don't like it. And it was something I really was a part of. I've always kind of watched, I'm kind of an official nerd just in general. I mean, I follow a lot of the stuff with the baseball guys, the hockey guys, and in soccer. And I've always appreciated the aspect of officiating and the trials and tribulations of what we go through. So, I mean, that was kind of a lot of the reasons that I got into it. So, and again, the money was there. It beat flipping hamburgers at the, whatever, the rallies back then. So.
Yeah, there you go. So, and then just kind of that journey as it continues to progress, right? You've been able to do some wonderful things, and you're continuing to do some wonderful things. So what was that progression like?
I gotta say, throughout my career, I've been blessed with great mentors, not only in St. Louis, I mean, and and regionally and nationally, but I had the opportunity to progress. There wasn't a lot of young referees that had the aspirations of going further. It was myself and George Gansner from the St. Louis area. And he kind of was in and out because of school and his travels and stuff that, he was a little bit older than me too. But I had, Herb Silva, names you've heard forever, Herb Silva, Holly Hollingsworth, Casey Frankowitz, as far as mentors that, was a lot of a charge into the signing back then. And then we had, we had a slew of national referees at that time because of Herb. We had Gary Huber, Rich Huber, Tom Smith, Jose Andrade. We had a woman referee for a long time that went to the Olympics, Jan Gittermeyer, who was one of the first FIFAs, in U.S. soccer. So, I mean, I just worked with them and picked their brain. And, again, doing college at 18 and 19 years old, running their lines, just learning what worked for them, what didn't work for them. And my style today is a combination of a lot of those guys. I mean, it's just, things that worked for me, things that didn't work for me. And again, I've just been very fortunate with that. And then Herb and Holly going, hey, this is good. This is what he does good and what this person does good, and come your own style. I mean, I'm, if anybody's met me, I'm 5'7.5", and sometimes I referee like I'm 6 foot, but that's just some of the personalities I got from my mentors. So, yeah, but I mean, it was a perfect storm. A lot of things have been a perfect storm in my career, and that, I couldn't ask for a better upbringing with the guys in my area. So,
Yeah.
Very, very fortunate. So,
well, and there's a lot, and I know you get this question probably a lot from a lot of younger referees that are trying to climb the ladder, is like, what's the keys to success? What are the herbs and spices to take it to the next level? And what I'm hearing you say is there's a lot of tenacity, but there is some times where things just have to fall into place at the right time too. It's kind of what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, it's timing. I mean, there's right place, right time, but you got to make your own luck. You got to work hard. You can't. I think the problem with a lot of young referees today is they're so doing the same youth games at the same pace and figure this is all we can do. And things are just going to instantly happen for them. Again, there's more opportunities there. There's more slots and stuff where we're fighting for every single slot that we could get. There was only, a few USL games or PDL games back then in the day, but it's work. So much I think now is work rate. You got to keep working. I mean, years when I was part of Region 2 staff, when we were picking people, part of Gary's staff for people for nationals, we would find referees just because, that wasn't necessarily on the initial radar list. Just by walking around and looking somebody's work rate, how they handle the situation, as opposed to, hey, they're doing the 15 girls game, no offense to the age or gender, but they were dogging it. They're just like, well, this person doesn't want to be there. And I think, I mean, at least to me, the work rate for a lot of people isn't as strong as I think it should be. And, and you a lot of that creates your own luck. I mean, I've seen, when I went to other regions, in the last few years, it's just like people watch. It's even less now. I mean, we would watch a game for 20 or 30 minutes and try to figure out. Now guys are watching 5 minutes and go, well, this person, I don't like how they did this, or they don't look the part, quote unquote. So, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of, a lot of that's changed too. So, and I think a lot of officials, I personally did a lot of goals. I wrote down goals of, hey, I wanted to be a FIFA referee. I ended up being a futsal referee, and still FIFA's a FIFA, but I wrote down goals, what I wanted to accomplish, and then things I would never thought I was going to accomplish, like, futsal instructor or whatever. But I wrote down goals, and, and I didn't get discouraged if the goal didn't happen then. Hey, why isn't this goal happening now? And then I had mentors say, well, hey, look, you're 25 years old. You're not right now going to be an MLS referee per se at that time, because it was harder back then. So you referees now has got to find realistic goals and try to achieve it. And again, if it doesn't work, maybe they're 23, 24, and they think they should be on the MASL floor right now or doing Division I college Final Fours. Hey, you got 20 years to continue doing this. Now, maybe, hey, if we reevaluate in 5 years, hey, am I making any progress? Then if you're not, then maybe some other things need to change or whatever. Sure. But you got to look at realistically where you're at and what's the expectations at that point. So that's some advice I would say. So
absolutely. Great stuff. So as far as your journey is concerned, I think everybody always wants to know if there are the crazy highs and lows. The great moments are always fun to hear. The low moments where it was like, I'm glad we made it out of there alive, are always fun to hear. Anything along those lines?
Oh, again, the great moments, getting the phone call from Messi. Hey, would you like to be part of the FIFA panel for futsal? Your first, again, and going back to the journey thing. I mean, I had done a lot of Division I playoffs for a long time in conference championships, and I never got the Division I go to a Division I Final Four until I'd like to say like 35, 36. I mean, it was closer to my 40s. And again, I'm 47. So 35, 36. So there was a long period. Again, luck. I mean, hey, the people on the committee doesn't necessarily like you. Maybe you had a bad year. Maybe you had other things. To me, that was one of the bigger reliefs that, I've been to lower level division Final Fours, but finally to go to Santa Clara and do a semifinal in the Division I women's, that was a big hurdle because it was like a goal. Hey, I wanted to go to a Final Four and do a national championship. So that was a big one on the college side. Working your first indoor championship. I mean, again, countless. Working your first international game with a white badge out of the country. It's like, oh my God, I'm here. Again, it was an off-white badge, but again, it's something that a lot of people, or other moments, you're watching the second game and you hear our national, U.S. national anthem out of the country, and you're like, hey, I'm part of something here. So I mean, it's a lot of little cool events. The flip side, I mean, I had a short tenured in WPS where the stars would not align that night, where a star player broke another star player's leg. There's a lot of other things behind the scenes that happened in that name, but it was a question of, hey, I gave a yellow card. They didn't say I was necessarily wrong, but again, a marquee player got their career ended by another marquee player. And at that point in time, there wasn't the backing of pro, because pro really didn't exist, union wise. So I took a bullet. And some other characteristics about my performance or appearance or whatever was thrown into all the excuses. And I mean, for a while I thought I was left for dead. I mean, I was still a futsal FIFA at the time, but again, a lot of question marks about it. My ability and stuff was thrown into place. So that was a real, that was kind of a low moment. So but you persevere and you keep going, and you again, I had great mentors that say, hey, look, you're a good official, this and this and this, just move on. But you don't want that spotlight to be on you in that way, where a player's career is done, and again, it was a player from Brazil, and they wanted answers. Well, how is this guy on this game? Why is this guy on this game? Is he qualified? Blah 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 blah. So, as we're the scapegoat sometimes. So,
right. Well, and not that any of us like to hear the negative in someone else's journey, but there is something to relate to that, right? To go, right. Everybody has had moments where you just have to go, this sucks, but what can I do to persevere and move forward? And we've all been there. And to hear somebody like yourself that's found great success, that go, nope, that was part of your story too. I mean, there's a level of, we don't wish that, but it's a level of comfort. No. And we've all been there.
Right. And again, hey, we all miss penalty kicks. We all miss red cards. We all miss this. And we just hope it doesn't become the Twitter moment or whatever the focus or whatever the blow up is. And again, so much of my career, we didn't have that culture, but that's another avenue now in today's official that, I mean, God, again, didn't look at who the referee was of the SEC game where it's went viral, but that's a crappy feeling. I mean, again, didn't see the game, but crap like that happens that quick. And now, hey, all the questions, hey, did this referee have control? Did not? Again, no, I don't know any context, but again, I feel for guys like that. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's talk about a few unique aspects to your career. I think I'll call it unique because I think futsal is something that I've really enjoyed it just in my local context, but you've been able to really excel at that. So what's that journey been like? What was that like at the working international futsal competitions?
The World Cup, being part of the instructor staff there was awesome. I mean, again, it was first time, as far as seeing it, again, never been there as an official, but seeing how a lot of the inner workings of FIFA behind the scenes of how they prepare for something like this with the team arrivals and the team hotels and the, all that stuff. And it's the same thing they do on the outdoor, just to a grander scale. But a lot of that was just amazing. And then, just we use video support, which is slightly different than VAR, where it's kind of a coach challenge system, how that aspect played out at the last World Cup. And it's just a different side of the game, and you're wanting to train guys to make them better, and I think I can relate to them still, because some of the rest of our staff is older and isn't referee actively, and I'm the only one of our panel that that still actively referees. So I bring a good aspect where I know, hey, the referee has that missed call, or and I can relate to him in the assessment or whatever. And so though that part was fun. I got to run my own site for 10 days in Clypeda, away from the headquarters. So I got to, I let in that site, I got to let the referees do their own thing. Hey, meeting time was this, dinner time was this, we leave the stadium time of this, but the rest of them, I just let them be them. I didn't have to, didn't say, hey, at 1 o'clock, I want to make sure that you're, I let the referees be them, because I just know how I would like to be, and wouldn't have to have someone, quote, babysitting me the whole time. But, no, but that experience and seeing how the whole operation ran from behind the scenes was amazing. So
what would you say, and this is something we're trying to kind of push in Kansas, is to get more referees to work futsal games. I see it as a really beautiful part of their development as a referee. What would you say about that?
Foul recognition, for one, because closer spaces, quicker decision making is one benefit. The seeing the advantage. So advantage, as in futsal, it's a little bit of space, and they can have a shot off or a scoring opportunity. So when you get back onto the outdoor field, the space is so much bigger, and you can see advantage so much clearer. I mean, if you do a lot of high level futsal, high level indoor, the outdoor game, and again, the running aspect is still the running aspect, but the decision making aspect is so much. It seems like it's in slow motion at times, because you can read 2 or 3 plays ahead. As opposed to indoor, it's futsal, it's boom, next sequence, boom, 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 and it's constant decision making. The other thing about doing that is, again, you don't get so much of this with kids, but with adults or senior players, that the conversation, the emotional descent, or you can't run away. I mean, if some player is giving you crap, they didn't like the call, you got to figure a way to manage that or diffuse that. You just can't run 40 yards down the field and go, okay, well, come find me. But so that's the 3 things I think doing futsal, doing indoor will help you be a better outdoor referee. And again, guys in my, that I looked up to, the high level guys at the time, SCB Harmers, Brian Hall, guys like that, they had an indoor background. There wasn't, they didn't have the luxury of the MLS, but they had an indoor background with that same thing, that same diffusing stuff. So, and foul recognition. So that was a big part of the guys that were on the list back then. So,
yeah. Well, that segues us to the MASL side of things, which that's growing significantly in our country, the League 2, League 3, a lot of opportunities and things. You've been in that league for a long, long time and have had a lot of experiences and things. Talk to us about that. What's been some of the fun parts of that journey, or along the way, I guess?
I how I got started in soccer. The playing soccer began with, like I mentioned, small rural community and outside St. Louis, that my parents weren't soccer people. My parents were baseball people, and my I turned on the TV one day and the St. Louis Steamers were playing whoever on Channel 11, and oh, I like this. This is fun. This is, I want, again, no MLS back then, no NASL. This was the only game that was going on. And then my dad signed me up for the local indoor house, figuring that, that it would only help me be a better baseball player because I'd be faster. But, but the game, I love indoor. I mean, I love indoor soccer. I always, I kid with Ryan, indoors 1A and college is 1B with me. It's just, because they're both fun. They're both fun things. But again, and I wrote when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I wrote to every single team in the league, handwritten letters, put it in the post box, and got souvenirs from them. So, I mean, I just been in love with the game from the get go. And, it's, to be a part of this league, and, again, the attendance is growing, the atmosphere, and I really think it's a truly entertaining product. And as far as an official, it's a lot of action, a lot of decisions. It's I'm a big hockey guy too. So there's a lot of hockey aspect to it, like how you treat players and personalities, and the whole, again, the music, the whole thing. There's nothing I don't like about it. And it's just tons of fun. And for those who haven't, you don't live in a city that has it, or that listens to this podcast, go watch it. I mean, it is, if you like officiating, you like challenging yourself, these games are fun. I mean, the players, it's a different type of player. It's, we have all types of players from all over the world that play it, and it it's a fun event. Again, it's not for everybody. There's balls bouncing off the walls. You got to climb the boards. It's all some of the crazy stuff that people are like, oh, I don't want to do that. But give it an opportunity. Do that or futsal. Try something different. And I do truly think it will help your outdoor game. So
yeah, I believe that 100%. I do want to hone in a little bit on the last piece on MASL. I think as I've watched it being in Kansas City, I get to a fair amount of Comets games. A lot of my buddies are out working. I don't work as much there because I do basketball in the wintertime and futsal, but so I get out and watch those games. For me, a lot of the challenges do come with player management in them.
yeah.
And
Yes.
so I'm curious what the keys to success for you have been as far as managing players.
And I'm lucky now. I'm a 20 plus veteran, and players, for the most part, the veteran players knows what pushes my buttons. They know. And again, I would think the majority of the players knows I am approachable. Again, I'm not instantly going to say, hey, you can't talk to me, go away. There's some conversations they're not going to win. You're not going to win. So they got to figure out either I'm going to keep yelling at you or go in the box, or they're just going to walk away. The challenge is when, you get a lot of emotional dissent in indoor, on a, call, no call. And again, it can be a tool to help you, throw the guy in for a potential 5 minutes to cool him off and set the tone. Other things, as far as if you don't throw them in, hey, simply say, hey, I messed it up. Again, honesty goes a long way with, especially the guys in indoor. Hey, it's such a fast game. We do make mistakes. Maybe we missed a deflection. Maybe we missed a pick or whatever. But, you can't say that 15 times a game, but they'll accept they'll accept some honesty. But you got to be approachable. And again, it's harder for younger officials that work in the league because you're trying to establish yourself as, I'm not going to put up with crap, or, hey, I know what I'm doing. So it's a balance. And it's just like any professional sports, the new referees are going to get yelled at more. The veteran referees are going to get yelled at less. And somewhere in between, you got to figure out what's going to work for you that night and what's not going to work, and what's good for the game, and what, again, and some of it's entertainment. The MASL is a lot of entertainment too. So there's a lot more, hey, playing it on the edge, living it on the edge with the emotion, get the fans involved. I mean, again, they don't want to see constant guys in the box all night. So, like they don't want to come see the star player sit in the box for 15 minutes all night long because he's had a personality problem with the ref. So you got to balance some of that too. And it's not always easy.
Yeah, that's challenging. So do you have any of those other guys in other sports, like a Wes McCauley fan or
I like Wes McCauley. I like Wes McCauley. There's a lot of Major League Baseball umpires I liked from the day, and a lot of them are retiring now because I just like, again, not overly big personalities, but sometimes, I mean, again, like a Joe West. Joe West is a hell of an umpire. I mean,
Yeah,
like
sure.
or hate, but he's a polarizing guy just because of who he is.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't put up with stuff. He never did put up with stuff. So that, again, that could be good or could be good, bad. But then you got guys like, Jerry Davis, who had a long career, did multiple World Series, and the average person would have never heard the name.
Right.
So again, they're both successful guys. Just one was more flamboyant or whatever you call it, more of a larger than ego personality than the other. And again, we got guys like that in our league. We got,
Right.
and hockey's got that guy too, those guys too. So, and some of it you can't control. I mean, there's guys that get a lot of negative press in Major League Baseball where maybe is that deserved, maybe so, maybe not, but it clouds the fact that maybe they are a good umpire, but they already have that reputation. No matter what happens, they're
Right.
not getting any respect.
Right.
So,
right. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the question that I warned you was coming is the kind of final concluding question here of, Well, actually, let me give you this one first. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you could go back until first year, first month, first week, first day, referee Shane, something that you know now based on your experience, what would that be?
Calm down and not throw a bunch of people out. So again, I have a kid that referees now. He's in his second year, and he's starting to get a little bit, maybe throwing, from what I'm hearing from it, a lot of coaches are getting carded and stuff. So maybe that's justified, maybe it's not. But as far as me, young referees either come in with they don't want to have any authority because they're afraid of it, because it's intimidating parents and all that, or they come in the opposite way where, oh, I crave authority, boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
And I had to be kind of not sat down, but I got reassigned or didn't get assigned for a while, and then I ended up getting with an older gentleman, and now that he was basically, I was with him for about 6 months, and he's like, no, you need to do it this way. You need to calm down. And so I would say to more calming myself down would have been a strong advice. And then really everything else, as I mentioned, I had all these mentors and all the right things happening where I really never got too far off course. I mean, ever. Again, I always had the right people telling me what to do or encouraging, and I did games. And again, I feel too many young kids now are getting lost in the system because there's not enough good mentors out there, and there's so many games, and we're so focused on covering games week in and week out that they're never going to have a chance.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I think that's an all too tragic story that affects us across the country and potentially even the world. I don't know, but I can speak to our context. It's the same thing.
And they get, and the problem is now they get so much misinformation. I think that's a big thing too, that again, my kid's lucky where he has me as a resource, and he has all the indoor refs and everybody that's ever met him as a resource. So he can bounce the stuff, but the stuff he hears is just like some older guy tell him that, hey, you can't do a drop ball in this scenario, or, hey, why are you warming up? Or why are you doing, it's just like, that's not helping these kids. And again, my kid knows the difference, but some, 20-year-old kid who's trying to figure this out, and some older guy who is an authority is like, no, you did this wrong. Or I only call indirect handballs in the box. It's like, it's just crazy. And that's why I feel sorry for now is just, there's the soccer IQ of young referees now is higher than it ever was because the game is on TV and stuff. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They just need some guidance about how to handle the lunatics of the parents and coaches that some have a clue and most don't, as we know, and not get discouraged. I mean, that's a big hurdle right now for all of us.
Right.
But
well, we could talk for a long, long time. This
Yeah.
has been a lot of fun to connect, and there's a lot of problems that are presenting themselves, but I'm pleased to say that folks like yourself are really part of the solution in so many ways in our various states and our settings. And so thanks for all that you do and continue to do in your area, and then as your reach continues out. So that final question of the one thing that you need to say to the Check Complete podcast, or you won't be able to sleep tonight. Is there anything that falls into that category?
Thank you for what you do. I've listened to a few of your episodes. You guys are doing a great product. You're getting a lot of good information out there to everybody. You've had some amazing guests. Keep doing what you're doing to help the sport grow and help the art of officiating grow. Because I think, again, it is an art of officiating, and it's something that people need to understand this side of things. There's not enough people that understand our side. And I think you're doing a good service of doing that. So,
well, I appreciate that, Shane. I thank you for your time, and I will hope to see you at a Comets game this winter.
I'm sure you will.
I'm sure you'll make your way out here. So thank you so much, my friend. We appreciate you.
Have a good evening. Thank you.
Yeah. The Check Complete podcast is brought to you in part by JF Consulting Tax Preparation and Bookkeeping. Taxes suck, we can help. Visit jfcokc.com. Thank you so much for engaging with the Check Complete podcast, episode number 18. Gordie alongside Kenny Bartkoski. Kenny, thank you for your time today again.
thank you again.
So great to have you here and hear your story. I want to say thank you to Shane Butler for his time. Wonderful interview with him as we hear about his story and the many things that he's involved with. As always, please engage with us and share it with all of your friends, the Check Complete podcast on our various social mediums. So like and subscribe to it. Click the button to subscribe to our channel. Like this video. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at check_complete, on Facebook, Check Complete Podcast. We'd love to hear any ideas you have for segments, for future episodes, things you'd like to hear, questions you'd like to have answered, all that stuff. We want to continue to be a resource for you in your referee journey. If you, for whatever reason, have any negative feedback, just write it on the bottom of a custom mug that says "Best Referee Ever." No questions, please, and send it to us. That'd be great. We will leave you with a special guest interview with a previous guest of ours who is currently, as we're recording this, on his way to the World Cup in Qatar. Enjoy this, and thanks for listening to the Check Complete podcast.
We're excited to sit down with a familiar face to the Check Complete podcast and to the Kansas soccer referee community, Kyle Atkins, FIFA assistant referee. Kyle, we chatted with you back on episode 10, so that's 8 episodes ago. Wow, time is flying by here.
Yeah, it is.
That's crazy. So that was not that long ago, but 8 episodes ago. And we talked about your upcoming opportunity to officiate at the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. And the day is upon us. We are less than 24 hours away from your departure. So we wanted to just briefly check in with you, see if you're hyperventilating yet or how you're doing. But we're so excited. Our podcast is so excited. Our listeners, and then, of course, your Kansas referee family are excited for you. But really broadly, we're excited for all of our pro referees from the United States and even our Canadian friends that will be going. We're just thrilled for all you guys. So we want to check in with you. How are you doing? What are you excited about? And then maybe, I don't know if you have a few minutes to just talk about what you're going to be looking forward to these next few weeks.
Yeah, sure. Happy to be back chatting with you again, Gordie. Like you said, less than 24 hours before I hop on the plane to first Philadelphia, then to Qatar. Should get there on the 8th. So about 13 hours of travel in air. I'm pumped. It's been a long MLS season, but it was a successful season for me. Made it through to the Eastern Conference Final in the playoffs in Philadelphia, and got to watch my colleague going with me to the World Cup, Ismail Elfath, last night on the MLS Cup Final on what was an absolutely incredible game. Didn't want it to end. I'm sure it was. We've been in those moments where you get on the field and you have such an entertaining match, you don't want it to stop. And he certainly got all of his money's worth. 120 minutes of football. It was something to behold. Really proud of him on that game. And we're at the end of the season, another MLS season complete, and body's feeling good, getting ready to hop on the plane, go over and referee this World Cup. We'll get over there, and we'll have a pre-tournament seminar starting on the 10th. So we'll get a couple days to get used to the time change and work out any jet lag that we might have, and get into a lot of like classroom sessions and practical field training, ironing out any details that FIFA might want us focusing on for the tournament, points of emphasis for the event, ironing out details with semi-automated offside technology, anything particularly with VAR, and different topics that we might cover, like handball, offside, penalty area incidents. We'll run the gamut of everything in this seminar leading into the opening match on November 20th between Qatar and Ecuador, which I can't wait for. It's going to be absolutely incredible. It's been 4 years in the making for this event, and we've all the referees have been working their butts off to get to this point and get the position of getting selected for the tournament. And then, it's finally becoming a reality here in just a couple days. I couldn't be more excited and thrilled at this opportunity, and honored that I get to go and represent the United States and all my referee family back in Kansas City. I honestly, I talk a lot, but I have no words right now for how it feels.
Yeah, understandable. I believe that. Well, we're really excited. We will be sharing through our social media. I'm sure there'll be several other accounts will be sharing the fixtures that you guys get assigned to. So we'll share that out so that we'll try to catch you guys in action, if not live, preferably not if you have any say, not the 4 a.m. games, our time, maybe like 1 o'clock. That would be better for all of us.
Sure.
But no, we'll share that out so we can follow you guys. But yeah, we're looking forward. We'll touch base with you and your crew after you guys get back to hear about your experience. That'll be great. I know I was thinking about your pre-tournament preparation. If you have a segment on calling it both ways, there are several thousand parents at youth fields across the United States that I'm sure would love to teach that segment. So
sure.
just let Kalina know.
Yeah. I think he'll work it into the presentations for sure.
Or high kick or playing on the ground. There's 3 really good ones there.
Or, hey, watch out, he's pushing. I think some people forget that soccer is a contact sport.
Yes, well, you better learn how to say that in languages so you're ready, you're aware. Well, very good, Kyle. I've said it 1,000 times, can't say it enough. We're extremely proud of you and your whole team, and we cannot wait to see how the tournament goes for you guys. Certainly, no matter how it goes, we are proud. But anything you guys can do to continue to represent us well, which we know you will, we will be behind you 100%. So thanks for your time today. We look forward to seeing you in action, and then hopefully we can have a follow-up conversation when you get back to learn about your experience.
Absolutely, Gordie. I always appreciate the support that you and the referee family across the United States has given us, and we'll go out there and make you guys proud.
Love it. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, Gordie.